Before we start, please pay attention to this disclaimer. This video essay contains slightly graphic imagery. Disturbing themes are discussed, and the book I'm going to talk about is the most gut-wrenching one I've ever read. Oh, and spoilers are also included. Without further ado, this is Tender is the Flesh.
Howdy, could I get a human arm with a side of potatoes? Oh, sorry, I meant upper extremity? Sorry, you know how it is. Getting used to the new meat industry after the transition. You know, with this new meat, special meat. You know, the tastiest one. This is Tender is the Flesh, a book following the story of Marcos, a bureaucrat working in the special meat industry, a replacement for the animal meat industry, which was shut down due to a terrible virus that made all of the animals unedible, lethal when consumed, in fact. Which also meant the food industry would need a new source of protein for the population's well-being. This is human flesh. This book's mix of gut-wrenching narrative, clear and concise prose, and the double standards of the only person who seems reasonable in this whole dystopian world, the protagonist, gives the story a peculiar, uncomfortable reading experience. Part 1. The vegan hero. Marcos, a respected worker in a meat processing plant, is a man weighted down by the burdens of his wife's abandonment and the death of his first child, and also having to look after his insane dad. He's in charge of supervising special meat for its consumption, which leads him to be faced with some grotesque scenarios. The cruelty behind the process, the dehumanization of the product, sheds with pregnant women stripped away from their extremities to prevent them from unaliving their unborn children as if to protect them from their inexorable destiny. And of course also sandwiches made from babies. Yeah, I can't forget that one. Ever. Every day he gets to see the frightened look behind the head of cattle. One of the many terms adopted to separate the eaten from the eaters. To pretend their nature is somewhat different. He understands the world as it is. The irony behind the meat that it's meat. The obvious lies of the government. Meaning the virus isn't real, but it certainly fulfilled its purpose, which was to regulate crime, overpopulation, famine, among other things. He knows the names, the places, the people. He knows the cattle are stunned before being processed, unalived, so their flesh remains tender. Unintended pun. Ba-dum-ps. And in the beginning, he seems like a hero, the perfect hero. Well, perfect in an imperfect world. He who can see behind the lies and abstains from eating meat most of the time. Being able to elbow with influential people, he was a witness to terrible atrocities. Yet he seemed more burdened by his personal life, which admittedly was hard for him, but harder than the slaughter of millions? I don't think so. The bangs are not banging. His ethics seem to be noble. He even develops a romantic relationship with one head of cattle, who slowly develops human characteristics. I mean, she is human, but yeah. Proving to be more than a human being, a person. In the end, we get to see a different Marcos. perhaps consumed by grief, perhaps by the system. After his death, Jasmine gives birth to his child. He and his wife, the one who left him, claim the baby as theirs. Marcos then proceeds to prepare Jasmine for consumption, stating she had the human gaze of a domesticated animal. That's the last line of the book. Food for thought. For me, this is a major shift in character behavior in the book. Marcos, who was originally presented as a reasonable person, as a good person, then proceeds to classify his romantic partner as an animal, as food, as meat. Mind you, he seemed to actually develop romantic feelings for this head of cattle. He loved her smile. He looked forward to spending time with her, and he took great care of her, which actually leads us to another point. Part 2. Loving meat, leaving meat. The aforementioned relationship between Jasmine and Marcos can be interpreted as an analogy for toxic relationships. But let us start from the beginning. How did they meet, you may ask? Well, Jasmine was given to Marcos as a present. Let's remember, in this context, she wasn't considered a person. She was food. In fact, a delicacy. He refused to eat her for some time, even though she was really expensive and really delicious, so they say. She formed part of a group of cattle that wasn't modified genetically, so for some reason she tasted better and was of better quality. Now, for him, she was no more than an obnoxious responsibility, at least at the start. But one day, as he cared for her, he felt something different, something taboo, something prohibited, punishable by death. He felt desire. He protected her, installed cameras around the house to prevent her from hurting herself, as she was not accustomed to a normal human life. For me, as a reader, this seemed pretty reasonable. He just wanted to take care of her. I would have never imagined what his real intentions were. But really, these restrictions play an important role in this interpretation. She was trapped, an object of value. Not even an object, a piece of meat. She was expensive, a delicacy, luxurious, something he wanted a taste of, but just a taste. She liked things. She laughed like a human being. She waited all day to see his lover. She was human. Yet he was just using her to bear his child, satisfy his desires. And when she was no longer useful, what did he do? He ate her right up. If this somehow needs more clarifications, this represents, for me, in my interpretation, a toxic relationship where the woman is not seen as a valuable human being but as an object of desire, which is who is meant to satisfy men And then when she's no longer useful, she's thrown away, which is actually what happens to a lot of women in the world. When they are no longer pretty, well, what purpose do they have for society? And it happens to a lot of women. Some women who are married and then, they grow up, they're no longer young and beautiful and whatever. So the guy goes out and finds a younger, prettier woman, the same Gone Girl story we have seen in real life so many times. Well, of course, this is just my interpretation, but I think it's a pretty good analogy for this. And also, on a side note, the author, I have to read this, Agustina Bazterrica, writes male characters brilliantly. A lot of female writers struggle with writing men's POV, but I think she did a pretty good job. My respect. End of the side note. Part 3. Sweet, bold-stained words. As I mentioned at the start, after the transition, this new meat acquired a new name, special meat. Now, to understand better, let's contextualize ourselves. Imagine all animals are gone and humanity has gone vegan. Now, some studies from privileged universities start to pop up saying veggie protein is not enough for human well-being. We need another source of protein. And what else could it be than to eat another human? Yay! So yay! Now eating human meat is legalized and we have a meat industry. Yay! Mass-produced humans. Now this is for survival purposes. Your body needs a source of protein and the government says it's good, so why shouldn't you try it? And they're not even people, they're cattle. They're cattle just like cows. They're not people anymore. They don't have names. You need to nourish to survive, but it is still kind of disgusting. Now, what would the meat industry do to make it acceptable and guilt-free? In the book, they started selling special meat, cuts similar to the ones of pork and beef. So, you wouldn't have to go to the butcher and ask him for a piece that also belongs to yourself, which would be weird. It's better to ask for something that, you're used to. Of course, this is no more than a disguise from the truth. A way to separate people from the process. Words create a barrier and that barrier protects us from the truth and the cruelty. Nobody would buy a person meat, but they would buy special meat. Why? Because it's special. Nobody would buy Tom Smith or Kate Adams. What they would buy is a person born and raised without any care or affection and no name. No name. What is a person without a name? The first thing someone asks about when they meet you is your name, as if your name were to encapsulate your whole personality. Now, these cattle lived their lives in their cages and then they without a purpose in life. Well, yes, feeding people. After all, if a human is not raised and cared for, then how could they ever become members of society? Well, the choice of words makes an enormous difference. It keeps us safe. It builds a barrier around us, As long as we're alienated from the process, then our hands will be clean. As long as the slaughterhouse's walls are white and clean, then what could be going on inside it that's so wrong? If the packages are sealed and dry, then how could the death reach us? This leads to another gigantic barrier, the eaters and the eaten. Part 4, the Great Wall of Anthropocentrism. We are obsessed with differentiating ourselves from animals, as if we somehow weren't part of the same planet, cohabitants. Don't get me wrong, it's not eating meat that I'm against, but anthropocentrism. We humans love to think our different evolution somehow gave us the right to destroy the planet that birthed us. We think of ourselves as all-powerful gods and goddesses that own every single planet and animal born here. And as you know, as if this wasn't bad enough, we love to differentiate between one another too, by social status, race, skin tone, features, whatever does the trick. Well, the same goes on in this dystopian world. If you have enough money to feed yourself and to cremate your body once you, then you will never be eaten. But if you're unlucky enough to be born in a slaughterhouse, well, buckle up, cause you're up for a ride. And same as in our world, the system is not made for you to get out of the slaughterhouse. Poor people are born poor. And unlike the popular belief that without enough hard work, you can do whatever you want in your life and you can reach all of your goals, they are most likely to die poor. Oh, am I denying that some miracle child can build his wealth from zero? No, I'm not denying that. That's the perk with capitalism. Anyone can be rich. Anyone. Yes, not everyone, anyone. Now, as a person from a really struggling country, I know firsthand that hard work doesn't get you as far as it should, or it doesn't get you anywhere, pretty much. Yeah, you can work hard every single day of your life. It would only take you, and let me read this, 1,469,853 years of non-stop work without spending a single penny to achieve the fortune that one of the richest men in my country have. And that is an actual fact. Nobody chooses in which side of the slaughterhouse they are born in. That said, I would rate this book a 9 out of 10. The plot twist is definitely something I didn't expect. I seriously had to take a break at a certain part of the book because it was too disturbing, so it achieved its purpose. Now, the plot is more centered around the life of Marcos, which is, of course, interesting, but I think the most interesting part is the dystopian world he lives in, so I would have liked to see more of that and less of Marcos' life, which I know. But that's probably more of a personal opinion. I really would have liked to see more of the dystopian chaos and let the writer expand her mind. But apart from that, I didn't catch any plot holes, which was great, especially for this type of dystopian book, because sometimes I find a gap and I'm like trying to fill it in. It's like, what would have happened in this case? What would have happened in this other case? And I never get answers to those questions, so it's really good I couldn't find any here. It's a good book. It speaks a lot about society, about the system, about politics, but it is definitely not for everyone. And let me tell you, if you haven't read this book and you're disturbed by the imagery I used, or even by the things I talked about, close this video, go about your day, continue with your life, and never open that book, because I'm not coming here to tell you it will make you vomit, it will make you puke, because that's not true. But it will make your stomach turn. I like how it makes us think deeper about the world and the possible very scary consequences of the lives we'll live right now in the future. It plants fear in our hearts because it makes us wonder about the cruelty in the world and how it will be reflected in the not so distant future. Hunger, overpopulation, crime, those are really possible variables that are already in this world and could transcend into something bigger, into something worse. But really, what can we do about it? What can the cattle do when their heads are about to be cut off? So always, thank you for watching this video, for staying with me, for entrusting me to give you this information. If you want more content like this, please comment what book I should do next, or if you want another type of content like vlogs, or maybe some philosophical content, or another book review. Check it out, it's in my channel. You only need one click, and any of these other videos are waiting for you to click on them. Please click on me, click on me. No, click on me, click on me, click on me. Oh, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, and like, and also leave a like.